So imagine this. This is you. You're chilling at the table with your parents getting ready for lunch. Your parents urge you to pray first before you start eating because you're religious and all that. But your prayer is interrupted by a knock on the door. Your dad goes to open the door and the color drains from his face. A man walks in, sits at the table and drops two pistols on it. Your father talks to the man and tells him to leave you and your mother alone. You are confused. He aims the guns towards your mother and pulls the trigger. Your father charges in a fit of rage and is gunned down. You are confused. He then turns his sights towards you after killing your parents. And while his man holds you down, he uses a pocket knife to carve the cross into your skin while you cry and beg. You are confused. At this point, you have two options: hunt down the man and his gang, or accept it as an act of fate, forgive him, and move on. If you pick number 2, you're a liar. Revenge in media has existed almost as long as media itself has, with movies like Old Boy, Kill Bill, Django Unchained, Vinland Saga, just to name a few. Even media that isn't specifically about revenge have revenge element. For example, Robb Stark waging war against the Lannisters for what they did, and Huey's initial hit for A-Train in The Boys. What I'm saying is, revenge as a concept is a huge part of our media, and that's because we love it. We get a sense of catharsis when the person who was done wrong, the victim in this case, settles the score, preferably by their own hand. I don't know about you, but when Gon was getting his get back against Pito, I was hyped. But looking back now, that boy was troubled. But at the same time, we also acknowledge that revenge is an inherently negative thing. It's this weird paradox. Now, let me get to the point before you click off the video. The Harder They Fall is an American Western movie released in 2021 starring Jonathan Majors. I wonder what he's up to nowadays. Oh. Anyway, Jonathan Majors' character, Nat Love, is out for revenge after... Yeah, that's part of the plot of this movie. It also has one of my favorite intro sequences of all time. Like, this is so cool! Oh, yeah, video essay. The movie officially starts with Nat Love killing the last member of the gang, the guy who held him down with the scorpion tattoo. Wow. After a bit of aura farming, he goes to Douglastown to see his kinda is, kinda not romantic partner, Stagecoach Mary. I have no idea who a Stagecoach is, by the way. But yeah, I also forgot to mention, the characters in this show are based off real people. They use real names, but the events are totally fictional for some reason. Anyways, after he reveals to Mary that he's finally ready to settle down with her now that every member of the gang is dead and the man who is rotting in jail for the rest of his life. And before doing something that YouTube would demonetize me for showing, he's made privy to some information that will change the course of this whole movie. Rufus Buck, the man who has been released from his life imprisonment sentence due to being pardoned, and he's reassembling his gang. Okay, let's give a brief overview of his character right now before we continue. Rufus Buck. I cannot put into words how much I love this character. He is cold, he is calculated, he is ruthless. When you've seen him on screen for more than a minute, you can understand why.
With all due respect, but the name Rufus Buck instills fear.
It also helps a lot that Idris Elba is an amazing actor. But that's what you guys need to keep in your heads as context. So, Nat Love's gang, along with the US Marshal, who teamed up with outlaws, by the way, to take down Rufus because of that. He's that much of a threat. So Mary comes up with the genius idea of infiltrating Rufus's town. Yes, he has a town. Even though, 1, they know her because she's a famous stagecoach. 2, they know she used to be a part of the Nat Love gang. 3, they know Nat Love. Wanna guess how that ends?
You done rode all the way over here to get yourself killed.
She is captured, and because of that, Nat has to turn himself in. Then he is captured. Rufus comes in and tells Nat to get him his money by Friday plus 10k interest or Mary will be hurt. Oh yeah, Nat's gang unknowingly robbed one of the gangs under Rufus before he was pardoned. But Nat asks Rufus where is he going to get 10k, because this was the Wild West. 10k was a lot of money. I mean, it still is a lot of money. But here's the thing, if you've watched this movie, you'd know how big of a thing this is, because Nat Love does not rob banks, he robs outlaws. That's how he even got Rufus's money in the first place. He robbed the gang under him. So telling him to rob a bank is literally making him go against everything he stands for. Being left with no choice, he robs a bank and he makes sure to let them know that Nat Love robbed the bank. And I guess the US Marshal there just lets him, I guess, because why not? They get back to Rufus's town with the money they stole from his gang members and the ones they stole from the bank, the complete 35k. But they also come back with a plan. Not a good one, but a plan. After a heavy shootout, chaos ensuing, characters dying, we finally get to the climax of the movie. Finally reach the part we've been waiting for throughout the whole movie, when Nat Buck finally confronts the man who took everything from him. And you'd think it'd be an action-packed shootout with both of them being beaten bloody, but our protagonist somehow finds a way to win and everybody ends up feeling good. But it's not. Not even close. Hell, Rufus doesn't even do as much as pick up a gun. He sits down and talks. He explains.
I used to watch my father beat my mother to a pulp if she overcooked his food. He cut her up real good if she undercooked it too. One day I decided to intervene, and he turned his wrath on me. My father was not a good man. Not a good man. He was an outlaw. Robbing banks. He liked to drink. My mother took a bottle and cut him to protect me. And he lashed back at her, and just like that, she was gone. Then, like the coward he is, he took everything we had and left, leaving me with my mother. I was about 10 years old, about the same age you was. When I gave you that scar, I had to fend for myself, but I became who I am, just like you. As I did, all I could ever think about is wanting my father to pay for what he did. I searched for him for years and years, and I could never find him. It's like he disappeared off the face of the earth. I ain't stopped, though. I kept looking until I did find him. One day, lo and behold, there he was. My father, a new man. He was clean now, sober, man of God. Got a church. He got a pretty little wife, son, about the age of 10 years old. His eyes blazed like mine. You lying. You lying! Killing our father was retribution, but... My father! My mother! But it wasn't enough. Letting you live. That was the true revenge.
Nat Love is his brother, Nathaniel Buck. Throughout the story, we followed Nat on his journey of revenge. He was wronged, he's the victim, so it's only natural we'd want him to get his revenge. And he did, but it didn't feel like a win. I don't know if any others relate to this, but during this moment, I sat there conflicted because I now had empathy for the villain. If Nat killed Rufus, he'd be getting his revenge, but it'd just be perpetuating the vicious cycle of hate. But if he didn't and walked away, the lives that were lost for this would mean nothing. So he was basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. But that's the point. Revenge takes, not just from the victim in the situation, but the victor too. It consumes a person. In Nat's case, he had to leave the person he loved the most to travel around the country killing people, never really being able to settle down, never having peace of mind. And that same revenge, getting his partner kidnapped, him beaten, and his friends killed. Even in cases where the person has nothing left to lose, that consuming hatred usually stops them from properly grieving those who they lost. Regardless, I'm sure most people in his situation would have killed Rufus. Hell, I would too. But we have to acknowledge him as a victim as well. His mother was killed protecting him from this man. Now he finds that same man with a new woman, a new child, and he's acting like the father he should have been to him, to his mother. At that point, that's just adding insult to injury. While I was watching, at this point, my feelings toward this character began to change. It was no longer one of hate. Well, to be fair, I didn't hate him before. But now it had changed to pity because it had me thinking about the possibilities if things had just been different. And I think Nat felt the same way too. His conviction at this point had been broken, just like the man standing in front of him. This scene hurts me so much because you can see the realization in Nat's face. Rufus was a victim, and even though he took everything from him, he was still the last family he had alive. Okay, like, hold on. Let's get one thing clear. I'm not justifying anything. Let me just put that disclaimer in the middle before. Yeah, but let me explain. From a moral standpoint, Rufus's revenge is less justifiable because it targeted innocent people. While Nat was aimed mainly at Rufus and anyone who had done him wrong, as well as his gang who tried to stop him. But this highlights the inherent negativity of revenge. Both actions still harbor the same destructive consequences, the same unnecessary violence and destruction, and the same loss of life. Deep down, Rufus might have loved his brother and knew he was innocent of all this. None of it was his fault. So in a very twisted sense, it made turning him into an outlaw through his parasite the very thing his father tried to run away from. Such a satisfying revenge. Rufus takes pleasure in that fact, saying Nat will become worse than him because he's about to kill his brother when he, Rufus, could not.
You know what?
Rufus was wrong.
I gave you that score.
Nat and Rufus are fundamentally different characters, and they serve as foils to each other. Despite both of them having very similar trauma, Nat has never killed or attacked anyone that he didn't have to. Rufus has. Nat doesn't rob banks like a traditional outlaw, he robs outlaws. Rufus's boys were the ones that were robbed. Nat is emotional and tries his best to protect the people he cares about. I can't even say with certainty that Rufus cares about anyone. So him reluctantly pulling that trigger was heartbreaking to watch because you know it wouldn't even bring him happiness. Revenge of that scale never does. It brings contentment at most. But even that was taken away because he has to live with the fact that he killed his brother. Like he's going to endlessly grapple with the newfound empathy he found for Rufus before he died. We see this in the end when he buries the members of his gang who died, as well as another grave with his name on it to fake his death. It's implied that Rufus is buried here, to show that even after everything he'd done, he still chose to give the man a proper burial. And I love what this scene represents. Rufus was the one to set him down the path to being an outlaw. Now he has buried that man in a grave marked with the alias he adopted as an outlaw. He is now able to settle down with Mary, able to live the life he's led, and it seems to end on a very hopeful note. That is, until a character implied to be Trudy Smith, Rufus's right-hand woman, is shown. Revenge is a cycle, one that never ends until someone decides to walk away. Nat Love has not escaped that cycle. In the end, he truly just mirrored Rufus's path. I watched The Harder They Fall recently, and I just wanted an excuse to talk about it. And although this is not a long-form, deep analysis video, I just wanted to make it, and yeah, also put out something really quick so my channel doesn't die out. So yeah, this video was kind of fun making. I think my shortest video recording time ever. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. And if you didn't, dislike, unsubscribe, all that YouTube stuff. Just have a great evening, great night, great morning, wherever you are, and stay hydrated. Bye!